Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome to BattleTech. I am very excited about this. I gotta admit, this sort of snuck up on me. I found out last week that there was a BattleTech game coming out, but I'm a big fan of the idea of BattleTech. I don't really know that much about it specifically. I played like 4 games of BattleTech in 1996, and I've never read any of what I come to understand are hundreds of novels. There's apparently a ton of BattleTech stuff out there, but I do remember thinking that, you know, the game, the tabletop war game, was cool, and from what I have seen of this in the time since I learned that it existed, it seems right up my alley. So, let's get right into it. Sort of right into it. I think there's some character creation to do and stuff, but new campaign. So, when I say there's a lot of... I want you to understand that hundreds of novels thing, I'm pretty sure that's not hyperbole. I think there are actually hundreds of novels. So, there's going to be a lot of flavor and world-building stuff that's going to be brand new to me. And if you are a person who is watching this, I'm going to have questions. If you're a person who's watching this who is familiar with BattleTech, feel free to go on at length in the comments below about BattleTech stuff. I would really appreciate sort of being walked into this stuff by somebody who knows about it.
I am Kamea of House Urano, High Lady of the Oregon Reach, Protector of Coromadir, and the Sword of Restoration. But I am not a hero, no matter what the stories say. A hero would have sacrificed more, compromised less. A hero would have done better. You know this, of course. You were there. My father used to tell me stories about the ancient times, about the Star League, a golden age of prosperity, upheld by the great mech warriors of old, guardians of the innocent, protectors of the peace. I always dreamed of following in their footsteps. I was too young to see the truth of things. After all, it wasn't heroism or a noble cause that won me the throne. It was hiring a mercenary, skilled enough, perhaps ruthless enough, to carry the day. Hiring you. I still don't know if you fought for honor or for the thrill of it, for belief in my cause, or just in my money. But whether it was your noble heart or mercenary mind, your actions gave us hope. That makes you a hero in the eyes of history. Whether you believe it, that's up to you.
And, one might argue, somewhat immaterial. And so I guess we're entering the first chapter, Restoration, by which we mean making the character. Welcome to the Oregon Reach. You should have seen me. Sometimes I wish I had a face cam. When she said Oregon, my ears perked up like a dog hearing you open the cupboard that the food is kept in. I feel like I've spent a lot of time in the Oregon Reach, you know? It's a small kingdom in the Rimward Periphery, a region of space that lies at the outskirts of the more densely colonized Inner Sphere. It is home to the Oregon Coalition, a federation organized around a parliamentary monarchy and ruled by the Urano family. Are these clickies? Okay, if I mouse over them for a second. Oh my god, there's gonna be so much lore. Hey everybody, let me know in the comments below your feelings on all of the lore, because I'll tell you what, if I was just playing this for myself, I'd read every word of this, but I know that that's not necessarily super engaging for y'all. However, I am going to read everything in this character creation, and straight up, I guess I'll tell you right now, there's not going to be anything in this video of actual gameplay. I'm going to stop it after character creation and then start a new one, so people who want to jump straight into the thing can do that. So if you are not interested in character creation and reading, just go ahead and jump to the next video, which will be uploaded presently. But out here, the Rimward Periphery is a region of space bordering and surrounding the Inner Sphere. The area directly opposite the galactic core is known as the Rimward Periphery. The Rimward Periphery is home to major states such as the Magistracy of Canopus, the Taurian Concordat, and the Oregon Coalition, as well as a large number of independent worlds. The way this is written, I see this, I see the magistracy of Canopus, the Taurian Concordat, and I'm like, oh, this is grasping me. Why was I not into BattleTech before? The Inner Sphere is the region of space within about 500 light-years of Terra. This area is divided between the 5 successor states to the former Star League. Oh man, am I going to get to meet Jadong? This region is the heart of human civilization and culture. That wasn't a good joke, I'm sorry. Beyond the Inner Sphere is the Periphery. I should have said Boxer. It is home to the Oregon Coalition, which is an interstellar state in the Oregon Reach area of the Rimward Periphery, bordering both Capellan and Taurian space. Capellan, probably, and Taurian space. Growing out of a trade partnership in the mid-29th century, the Oregon Coalition was formally established in 2910 by High Lady Kiona Arano. So, people who are familiar with the lore can maybe fill me in on this a little bit. Is the Oregon Reach an area that pre-exists, like that existed in the lore before this game, or was it made up for this? Because I'm kind of curious now. I'd never heard Auriga before playing the Endless games, but I'm wondering now what the source of that word is. If it actually comes from BattleTech, or if they're both drawing it from a common source. In the past 100 years, the Oregon Coalition has grown from 4 systems to a total of 23. What do we know about the Aranos? Foresight and Vision. The hereditary rulers of the Oregon Coalition, currently led by Lady Kamea Arano. The Arano House Sigil is a great cormorant on a field of red. Cormorant's a bird, right? I think it's like a goose. The ancestral seat of House Arano is Coromodier 6. I'm named after... It's similar to cormorant, but not enough, I guess, for it to have been an influence in the naming. From the early days of the Rimward Trade Partnership and the founding of the Oregon Coalition in 2910, through to the current day, House Arano has led the systems of the Oregon Reach. 3 generations under the rule of House Arano, the Oregon Coalition has remained a relatively peaceful corner of the periphery. It is here your story begins. 2910. I don't know what current day is. So I don't fully know what we're being told here. Okay, so yeah, we have some decisions to make. There is, like I said, just a ton of lore, and I don't really know any of it. So we're going to read all of this, because this might matter a lot. I don't know. Mech warriors who hail from the Draconis Combine tend to be fierce, disciplined, relentless fighters, no matter the odds they might face on the battlefield. Although the Draconis Combine is as ethnically diverse as any of the vast interstellar empires, it is also one of the most culturally homogeneous. Over centuries of rule, the founding House Kurita... hold on, let's finish reading this first. The founding House Kurita has succeeded in uniting the people of the Combine into a single culture, heavily molded around medieval Japanese society. While some, most notably the descendants of the conquered Principality of Rasselhag, continue to chafe at the uniformity of Draconis society, overall this has created a more cohesive populace and military than seen in the other great houses of the Inner Sphere. So I mentioned earlier that I played a little bit, and like a little bit of BattleTech in the 90s. BattleTech was written in the 80s, I believe, is when it came to be. So you're going to see some real, like, 80s type science fiction writing, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's stuff like, it's space, it's the space shogunate, right? Like, so, I don't know, some of that stuff may not have aged that well. We'll see what the modern take on it is, I guess. So tell me a little bit more about the Draconis Combine. It's weird that we get a bunch of text about this Draconis Combine, and then within that, there's a link to more text that really could have just been in this box, right? The Draconis Combine is one of the 5 successor states of the Star League, located coreward and spinward of Terra. Yeah, I guess, okay, fair enough. When we're playing Endless Space, I often say things like Galactic West to make directions clear. I guess spinward is maybe a more sensible way to describe things. Ruled by House Kurita, the Combine has always been aggressively expansionist. The head of the Combine was the first of the Council Lords to declare himself the new ruler of the collapsing Star League. Regularly in conflicts along its borders with all of its neighbors, the Combine is a highly structured militaristic society, with rulership in the hands of the Coordinator, the commander-in-chief of the Draconis military. This has given me some, like, 40k Space Marine vibes. The Combine's culture is heavily influenced by the Japanese roots of the ruling family, despite the minority status of those with Japanese ancestry, as this cultural heritage is imposed from above by the predominantly Japanese ruling class. The current leader of the Combine is Coordinator Takashi Kurita. Okay, so every house has house words, because that's how fiction works. You always gotta have a motto. Honor the dragon. House Kurita has dominated the Draconis Combine since its founding in 2319 by Shiro Kurita, who imbued the state with its strong Japanese culture. Personal honor and a self-reliance bordering on xenophobia are hallmarks of the Kuritan policy. Embracing the way of the warrior, the Draconis Combine has had a long history of antagonism with and aggression against its neighbors. Yeah, tell me more about this. This is interesting to me. A minor interstellar state conquered 700 years ago by the Draconis Combine, now officially known as the Rasselhague Military District. Because Rasselhague's not a very Japanese name, right? That feels more... Geez, I'm gonna guess like Scandinavian influenced? And yeah, the Inner Sphere is the space. We know this one already. Okay, so part of the reason that we're getting this is because every place that the name of the Draconis Combine appears, we're going to have access to the same text, I guess, which is great, because I'm forgetful. I'm very forgetful. This will be very helpful. The Free Worlds League, led by, I'm assuming this means House Merrick. Mech warriors who hail from the Free Worlds League tend to be passionate, enduring fighters who value justice and equality above all else. The oldest and theoretically most democratic of the great successor states of the Inner Sphere. Let me tell you, I'm familiar with theoretical democracy. The Free Worlds League is actually a broad coalition of many minor noble houses. For most of the League's history, it has been ruled under martial law by a Captain General, who by tradition is from House Merrick. The cultural diversity and relative independence of its component regions are at once the greatest strength of the Free Worlds League and its greatest weakness. Okay, so another one of the 5 successor states. These top 5 are all the 5 successor states of the Star League, then, ruled by various houses, and then there's some other stuff going on below. Located rimward and anti-spinward of Terra. Ruled by House Merrick, the League was, with the Capellan Confederation, one of the original signatories of the treaties that would eventually form the Star League. After the fall of the Star League, the Free Worlds League granted broad control over its economy and government to the commander of its military, the Captain General, a thing that never works out poorly. The League is known for being a powerful mercantile state, but the succession wars have nearly destroyed its economy. The current ruler of the League is Captain General Janos Merrick. Maybe Janos, maybe Janus, I don't... There's a couple of different language roots you could come at that from. Well, I think this one sounds more interesting to me than the last one. So the 5 great nations of the Inner Sphere are considered the successors to the Star League. They're known as the successor states. Yeah, okay, we'll get to all of this. We know about the Inner Sphere already. House Merrick stands united, it turns out. The Free Worlds League, the oldest of all successor states, has long been ruled by House Merrick. The League is an open, multicultural state consisting of many great and small realms loosely joined together. Politically fragile and frequently riven with instability, House Merrick has relied heavily on free trade and technological advancement to keep peace with its rivals. Yeah, that's... a lot of things about this place feel familiar to me. The Federated Suns. Alright, I'm just gonna guess from the sword and the sun thing, this is the popular one. Just a feeling I have. Mech warriors who hail from the Federated Suns tend to possess more finely honed... words is hard. Tend to possess more finely honed skills and better equipment than their counterparts from other regions of space. They often see themselves as righteous warriors and champions of liberty, sometimes to a fault. Though nearly extinguished by the Draconis Combine in the First Succession War, the Federated Suns, a constitutional monarchy ruled by the renowned House Devion, has become arguably the most powerful of the 5 great successor states. Through skillful military campaigns and subtle diplomacy, House Devion has significantly increased the number of star systems under its control in the last 2 centuries. Yep, so one of the 5 successor states, located rimward and spinward of Terra. The Federation is the most powerful of the five, and people of the Federation pride themselves on their... Okay, this is very similar. The Federation is quite capable of ruthless, decisive action, though, and its idealism readily gives way to pragmatism when called for. Current ruler of the Federation, Prince Hans Davion, is an experienced and unconventional military commander. The Federation's alliance with the Lyran Commonwealth effectively ended the Third Succession War. We know about you guys? Yeah, tell me about these succession wars. A brutal conflict that ravaged the Inner Sphere from 2786 to 2821, when Minoru Kurita declared himself the new First Lord of the Star League. Leaders of the other great houses followed suit, becoming known as Successor Lords. The First Succession War is notable for the devastating effect it had on the Inner Sphere's infrastructure and technology base. Much of what was lost has not been regained in the intervening centuries. Okay, so like very similar to 40k then. By Freedom's Sword. That's a view of freedom. From their capital world of New Avalon, the Davion family led the Federated Suns to become one of the largest and most militarily powerful states in the Inner Sphere. Federated Suns' motto, By Freedom's Sword, illustrates their self-image as a nation, the champion of freedom, democracy, and human rights, although the reality is not so clear-cut, as one might expect. In addition to being a military power, the Federated Suns is home to the New Avalon Institute of Science, the premier research and development center of the 31st century. Mech warriors who hail from the Lyran Commonwealth tend to be hardy, well-equipped, and well-trained, though they have also earned a reputation for not being particularly strategic thinkers on the battlefield. You know, it would be kind of funny if they, I was just thinking, like, reading through all these positive things, you know, they're all sort of shades of the same thing. It would be kind of funny if they had all used basically the same text, with just, like, tiny little tweaks for the first paragraphs. These people tend to think that they are, you know, they have loyalty and all of the positive traits. Wealth is the greatest strength of the merchant princes of the Lyran Commonwealth, ruled by House Steiner. Despite a number of humiliating defeats in the first two succession wars, the Lyran Commonwealth has bounced back thanks to the combined strength of its economy, the biggest of the five great successor states, and its control of the Inner Sphere's largest functioning battle mech factories. What the Lyran Commonwealth may lack in military prowess, it makes up for with raw numbers and industrial scale. Okay, so ruled by House Steiner, the Commonwealth is the wealthiest of the five with an entrenched and powerful noble class. The focus on pedigree and prestige among the nobility has often resulted in less than brilliant officers being elevated to high command, to the detriment of the Commonwealth's military strength. Much of the Commonwealth's success comes from vast resources located within its borders. The current ruler of the Commonwealth is Archon Katrina Steiner, notable for her peace proposal that, in allying the Commonwealth with the Federated Suns, effectively ended the Third Succession War. Because, I don't know if you know this, but in the grim future, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war, except when there's peace. The Capellan Confederation. Mech warriors who hail from the Capellan Confederation are dedicated and steadfast combatants, capable of holding the line and often surprising those opponents who would make the mistake of underestimating them. The Capellan Confederation has suffered the most at the hands of the other successor states over the last 2 centuries of war, having lost nearly half of the territory it once controlled at the height of the Star League's rule. Over time, the leadership of House Liao, that's probably pretty close, has transformed the Capellan Confederation into a socialist police state with a highly regulated economy. Most Capellans take great pride in their citizenship, which must be earned through service to the state. I have heard that service guarantees citizenship. So far, without knowing too much else about the lore, other than what we've read, Free Worlds League is sounding the best to me, the most interesting to be from. Ruled by House Liao, the Confederation is the smallest and newest of the successor states, and often the loser in conflicts against the other powers. It is an authoritarian police state with philosophical origins in a text known as the Corvin Doctrine, which argues for total subservience of the individual to the state. Citizens of the Confederation must earn their position and the benefits of citizenship through service to their community. Current ruler is Chancellor Maximilian Liao, a shrewd planner and master manipulator. Alright, let's see what these other things are. Mech warriors who hail from the magistracy of Canopus. I have no idea where the stress goes in that word. I'm going to keep saying magistracy for now, although hopefully not too many more times. These mech warriors can run the gamut of skill and fighting styles, but they often favor clever and unorthodox tactics on the field, as opposed to the other houses, which hate clever tactics. Who would ever do such a thing? While smaller than the great successor states of the Inner Sphere, the magistracy, those guys, are one of the major powers of the Rimward Periphery. The magistracy is a matriarchal society, one would imagine, led by a magistrix. This is an elected position open to any woman, but largely controlled by House Centrella due to the family's popularity. The magistracy supports an open society that ensures the personal liberty of all citizens, and their right to live their lives as they see fit. I hope that I don't have to read that word too many more times over the course of the game, because you can probably tell I have to slow down to about 50% reading speed to get it out. A large periphery state located rimward and anti-spinward of Terra just beyond the Free Worlds League. Founded explicitly as a matriarchy, the magistracy is ruled by a magistrix, a position open only to women and usually held by a member of the founding Centrella family. Independent since the fall of the Star League, the magistracy has remained mostly untouched by succession wars, except by the overall collapse of trade and travel. They are famed for their social and cultural freedom, with no consensual behavior forbidden by law or custom. The current ruler of the magistracy is the Magistrix Kayala Centrella, who harbors a deep grudge against the Inner Sphere, and the Free Worlds League in particular. Boy, I bet there's some fascinating stuff that has been written about why it's a matriarchal society, like why the ruler has to be a woman. I'd be very curious to read some of that. Feel free, if you are a person who's into BattleTech stuff, to recommend good BattleTech books in the comments, by the way. Mech warriors who hail from the Taurian Concordat tend to be stubborn and aggressive. They can be quick to anger, but they are nonetheless skilled and perceptive combatants. See, I love this thing they're going for here. They're the Taurians, they're from Taurus, they got the bull thing. What I appreciate here is the consistency. Founded as a constitutional monarchy under the leadership of House Calderon, the Taurian Concordat is the strongest military power of the Rimward Periphery. It is also one of the oldest surviving realms of human civilization, having been formed long before the creation of the Star League. Taurian citizens enjoy extensive freedoms guaranteed by the Concordat Charter, and take pride in defending those freedoms through compulsory service. The Taurian Concordat has long had an antagonistic relationship with the Inner Sphere, particularly with the Federated Suns. The Concordat is a wealthy, well-educated, and well-armed periphery state. Taurians defend their independence fiercely against Inner Sphere aggression, particularly by the Federated Suns. They perceive House Davion's reputation as a protector of liberties as unwarranted and even hypocritical, and they have a long history of conflict with the much larger successor state. Current leader is Protector Thomas Calderon. Alright, we're almost done. This is 23 minutes in, and we haven't even gotten to the part where we make the character yet. There is no easy way to characterize mech warriors hailing from the Rimward Periphery. They can be anything from petty thugs to ruthless tacticians, to skilled and honorable warriors. Something tells me, though, that they are clever and that they prize freedom and individual liberty. The nations and minor noble houses of the Rimward Periphery have long played a role in shaping humanity. Star League's downfall began in the Periphery, eventually leading to the current tattered state of these disparate star systems on the edge of known space. The Periphery is still the galaxy's frontier, where the great houses of the Inner Sphere play deadly politics, petty bandit kingdoms thrive, and pirate bands prey on the minor noble houses trying to survive in this hostile environment. And then it gets even more peripheral out here on the deep Periphery. Sorry, I'm not mousing over all the stuff here. The Rimward Periphery is home to major states such as the Magistracy, the Taurian Concordat, and the Oregon Coalition, as well as a large number of independent worlds. Yeah, we've seen all this other stuff. Mech warriors that hail from the deep Periphery are rare, but even rarer is the mech warrior who will admit to such an origin. Beyond the outermost edges of the Periphery lie depths of space that remain uncharted and unknown to most of human civilization. Little is known about these regions, but they are far from uninhabited. The deep Periphery is littered with abandoned colonies and small outposts, isolated from the rest of humanity. After the fall of the Star League, General Alexander Kerensky led the remnants of the Star League Defense Force into the deep Periphery disappearing from the Inner Sphere and from recorded history. Alexander Kerensky is... That's just the name of a real-world historical figure. Is it? Kerensky's first name is Alexander, right? Again, 80s... There's a certain subtlety that we sometimes like to use in... Not to disguise, but to sort of, put a layer of baffling between our settings and their inspirations now, that you just... that's not the way things were in the 80s. You just put it all right there in the text. Let's see about this Alexander Kerensky. Born 2700, disappeared 2784. As Regent and Protector of the Star League and Commanding General of the Star League Defense Force, Kerensky was the highest-ranking military officer of the Inner Sphere. Following his successful conclusion of the Amaris Civil War, Kerensky withdrew from the Inner Sphere with 80% of the SLDF's personnel and assets, never to be seen again. This action left the Inner Sphere defenseless and precipitated the First Succession War. That's a big impact. The exact borders of this region are vaguely defined. Though not as thoroughly colonized as the Periphery, the Deep Periphery is home to a number of interstellar states, such as the Hanseatic League and the Channelaine Isles. Alright, well, I'm still... Taurian and Free Worlds League both sound kind of cool. I think we can go this way. I like their color scheme, too. You are of noble birth. That's not a choice. You just are. I guess you have to be a person who's rich enough to own a mech, probably. So, though immigrants to the Oregon Reach, your family soon established a comfortable presence in a small backwater system on the edge of Oregon space. By the time you were born, your family had become the de facto ruling nobility of the system's only inhabited planet. You were the oldest child, heir to the family's titles and ancestral battle mech, an old Blackjack BJ-1. All I really remember from my time playing BattleTech is what a Jenner looks like, so we can all find out about these mechs together. This is where you met Raju Mastiff Montgomery, a veteran of the Succession Wars, whom your parents hired on for a season to train you as a mech warrior. Raju was a strict but capable teacher, and you quickly became a skilled pilot under his tutelage. It was an uneventful life, right up until the moment that it wasn't. We said that. Okay. Tell me about battlemechs a little bit. Battlemechs are enormous armored fighting vehicles, often humanoid in design, that can weigh up to 100 tons. They are considered the most powerful and deadly surface units of military force can field. Battlemechs are classified as light, medium, heavy, or assault. As you might imagine, these values are relative. Most people would not consider a thing that is 20 tons to be that light. Because of their incredible power requirements, many mechs generate ferocious amounts of waste heat, making battlemech cockpits swelteringly hot, and sometimes threatening to cause a complete system shutdown. Yeah, so one of the things about BattleTech that I thought was really cool was that you had there's a level of... I don't want to say... It's sort of simulationism, I guess. Obviously, you're still taking the giant cartoon leap to I'm driving the giant man robot, but, it actually matters where your ammunition is stored in your mech's body, and you have to be careful of your heat levels, and you're counting rounds because stuff's expensive. There's a lot of really cool pseudo simulationist stuff that goes on in the tabletop game that my understanding is we will see here as well. The Blackjack BJ-1 is equipped for both long and close-range engagements. A pair of AC-2s is backed up by 4 medium lasers, lending the mech a powerful alpha strike, while jump jets enable the Blackjack to move to high ground at a moment's notice. Jump jets are one of the things that enable my favorite part of BattleTech, the thing that I thought was coolest. Was there are rules for basically just Mario stomping another mech. So you jump jet up, and I don't know if you can do it straight from the jump jets, but you definitely can, because I had it happen to me. Get jumped on by a guy who's on a higher elevation than you are. It's kind of drop down on you. Seems like it would be a terrifying amount of force exerted. So Raju is a battle-scarred mech warrior with nearly 40 years of combat experience. In addition to mercenary work, Mastiff has served as master-at-arms for a number of noble houses, training their scions in the arts of war. The ladies Kamea Arano and Victoria Espinoza have both benefited from his training. Maybe we're supposed to know who Victoria Espinoza is. The name does not mean anything to me yet. Someone who pilots a battle mech is called a mech warrior, as you might imagine. And if you've heard of the Mech Warrior series of games, those games are set in the BattleTech universe. They typically serve in the armies of the successor states or in mercenary units. During the Succession Wars, many mech warriors owned their own mechs and passed them down through the generations as family heirlooms, because I imagine they're unbelievably expensive, right? They have to be. So, it was an uneventful life until the day after your 16th birthday, it turns out, when you made a choice that affects your stats. Okay, what are the stats? Gunnery determines chance to hit with ranged weaponry, seems like an incredibly important stat then. Higher skills and effective counter to evasion and environmental effects that hamper targeting. Tactics increases the effectiveness of your called shot opportunities and reduces the penalty for indirect fire and improves the minimum range of weaponry. While gunnery tactics sounds really powerful then. What other stats do we have available here? Piloting, guts. Okay, just piloting and guts. Piloting increases your melee hit chance and base sprint distance, and improves the threshold of stability that triggers unsteady, and increase the maximum level of evasion possible from movement. So I'm assuming that unsteady means that, if we get hit by something with enough force, or standing on unstable ground or whatever, we could potentially lose our balance and fall over, is my guess. That seems like it would be really bad. I bet it takes a lot of time and effort to get one of these things up if it falls over. And finally, Guts. Guts increases the maximum health of mech warriors. It also reduces the penalty from weapon recoil and increases the threshold of heat that triggers overheated. I'm assuming here that when it says improves the maximum health of mech warriors, that means, like, the person driving the mech, right? They're not talking about improving the health of your mech, because why would your stats improve the health of your mech? So I guess the health of the pilot is potentially going to be an issue. I would think that if you sustain any kind of meaningful damage in mech-to-mech combat, you just, like, you as a person just die, right? The force is involved. I don't know. Let's see, we could be exiled. We could have struck out on our own. Family could have went bankrupt. Could have gone bankrupt. Gunnery tactics seems like it must be pretty good. Gunnery and guts, maybe also, if it turns out that the health of mech warriors is important. The heat threshold thing also could be really valuable. You know what, let's go this way. This is a nice dramatic story. Your family was betrayed and its seat of power destroyed. You defeated the betrayers, but you were the sole surviving member of your house. With nothing but your family's ancestral blackjack left to call your own, you set off to make a new life for yourself. Yeah, I like this. Gunnery and guts. Out on your own, you fell into the life of a... Okay, so these are all giving us stats. But they're not all unique stats, so I'm assuming that there are other differences. There may be, like, actual... I don't know, there might be branching plot lines? I have no idea what is going to come of our choices here. So we could sign on as a guard for a small trading guild, providing security as the guild's caravan makes trading runs between the inner sphere and the periphery. It was a largely uneventful life, but you were able to put your mech warrior skills to good use in the occasional scuffle with pirates and uncooperative local governments. You can become a freelancer and roam the rimward periphery, signing on for whatever odd contracts you can find as a mech warrior for hire. It was a solitary life, but as you become more comfortable with the itinerant lifestyle, you found you were able to make a decent living helping the people of the frontier. That's compelling. An inner sphere mercenary. Eager to get away from it all, you joined up with a minor inner sphere mercenary unit. Integrating into the tight-knit crew took time, but you eventually proved your worth and became part of the family. So, again, I do think that it seems like tactics and gunnery maybe are the best stats. I suppose we'll find out once we're actually playing if that's really true. But the ones that give gunnery and tactics are definitely higher on my list. We can take our skills as a mech warrior to the famed arena planet of Solaris 7. There you eked out a living as a gladiator, fighting for the crowd in minor arenas, getting by from paycheck to paycheck. That can't be an arena for mech combat. Like, what does it cost to repair these things? There's no way that can be profitable. I mean, I guess that's not true. There is a way. You could just make enough money. Seems like it would be really easy to lose a fight and be permanently out of the game, though. Which I guess was also the case with a lot of other kinds of gladiatorial combat. A frontier pirate. Tired of living under the authority of others, you fell in with a local pirate gang in the rimward periphery. It was an unruly crew, but an effective one. Roaming the periphery afforded your outfit with a steady supply of poorly defended merchant caravans and supply depots to prey upon. While raids did occasionally devolve into combat, you quickly learned that successful piracy is mostly about being in the right place at the right time, with the right threats and a good show of force. That's true, even if you're in a profession where, even if you're in a profession that people might describe as violent, you don't actually want to engage in violence. Violence is dangerous. Or finally, we could be an Oregon Coalition soldier. Unsure of your prospects, you traveled to Coromodir, the capital of the Oregon Coalition, and enlisted in the Coalition military. You quickly rose through the ranks, distinguishing yourself as a reliable mech warrior. Life as a soldier wasn't glamorous, but it suited you just fine. You know, I feel like we, here on the channel, have spent an awful lot of time out in the Oregon Reach. Let's go for Coalition Soldier. It has another point of gunnery on it, and, yeah, I think it's thematically appropriate. Until years later, you crossed paths with Raju Mastiff Montgomery once again. On an ill-fated mission, you were caught behind enemy lines and separated from your lance. Raju happened to be on patrol nearby, and he launched a daring rescue. Upon finding out it was you he had rescued, he brought you into the House Arano Royal Guard. So it is that you find yourself reunited with your old mentor, preparing your ancestral blackjack for guard duty on the coronation day of the Lady Kamea Arano. There's different text from each of these that leads to the same conclusion. Your outfit's luck ran out, landing you in Oregon. Yep, okay. We're sticking with soldier. I was just curious if the text was how different the text really was. What do we really know about Lady Kamea? Brave, idealistic, and determined, the Lady Kamea Arano is the daughter of the late High Lord Tamati Arano II, due to inherit the throne of the Oregon Coalition. I'm assuming until the events of whatever we're about to encounter. Something tells me this coronation's not going to go all that smoothly. So, character customization. We finally got here. It only took almost 40 minutes. Everybody who's still listening, I hope you enjoy the sound of my voice. I imagine you must. So let's, boy, I don't have anything on this. I guess I should have been thinking about this while I was doing all that reading. Puppet Master, Maul. These are some pretty good call signs. Let's random us up a thing here. Geez, man, I really don't know. I kind of wish that there was just a random all button. I have no strong feelings on this particular topic. Some of these pre-generated characters look pretty good. Are these models or? Okay, I thought at first that they were drawn from the zoom out. How customized can we get here? Oh wow, there's actually kind of a lot of stuff going on here. Oh, well, we can't get more ridiculous than this, really? I was kind of hoping we could go for, full skull face makeup. We just, recreate Skelly. Wow, that is a prominent location for a tattoo. I can't just drag this around. We have a camera slider. Where is this tattoo? Where's tattoo 3? I don't even see it. Oh, wait, is it? Okay, it's on the cheek here. It's a scorpion. Can I mess with the color of the tattoo? It actually looks like the answer to that is no. That's weird. Why would I want to have a scorpion tattooed on my face if it's not going to be bright red? Ridiculous. Apparently all the tattoos are pretty muted in color. One of these has to mess with the tattoo color. Am I missing something really obvious? Makeup, tattoo, scar. No, I guess not. The tattoos are just all very muted. Weird. Giant butterfly on the forehead. You know, I kind of like the audacity of the giant butterfly on the forehead. That's a real I dare you to say something move. Yeah, alright. Butterfly. Giant face butterfly. We're going to take the makeup down a notch, though, because that would be pushing it. That would be a little too much. Video games are obsessed with face scars. Video game characters have significant facial scarring at a rate that must be hundreds of times that of the general population. We're gonna go for a relatively unscarred face, I think. Let's buck the trend, you know? We are the Butterfly Man, after all. Oh, is this like... Does this have a ponytail? Is this that one Viking haircut that all video games love? No, it doesn't look like it. There's a surprising amount of stuff in here. There you go. Sort of like a... It's a little fancy at the edges, but a little bit more of a Mitch Hedberg look is what I was going for here. Yeah, that'll do. You know what I'm just realizing? I was looking through these, I was thinking, we'll just go for like... What a pretty normal eyebrow. I just realized I have no idea what my own eyebrows look like. Yeah, that'll do. Facial hair. I like having a beard. I imagine our character doesn't spend a huge amount of time on on grooming. That's just a guess that I have. Listen, you know, you gotta really devote yourself to the mech. He doesn't want to shave that often. He's busy. Yeah, alright, big beard. Expression. I'm very concerned about the result of this character creation. We were betrayed, right? That's the one I chose? I think a guy who has been betrayed and had his family forced out of their home and their position is going to be worried about stuff a lot. He's just, you know, he's a little concerned basically all the time. Oh, interesting. So, like, underskin lowlights and stuff. Yeah, you can't... I don't know how old we are. The day after our 16th birthday is where that dramatic thing happened, but I don't think that the... If it told us how many years after that we are now, I missed it, which is totally possible. So yeah, we'll go a little older. This is something that kind of drives me crazy in video games. In particular, it seems to be common in Japanese video games. The incredible youth of all video game characters. Everybody, even video game characters who have to be like incredibly skilled and qualified. And like Resident Evil, I'm thinking is a great example of this. Right, Jill Valentine in Resident Evil was a Green Beret and is like the world's most accomplished lockpicker, and she's like 19 or something. Like how? How did you do all that? When did you find the time? I remember what I was doing at 19. So the lips are a little intense. I think we could probably scale these back a little bit. Or we could go straight up blue. How are you gonna have, like... Here's the thing. Here's the thing about going for a crazy color for the lips. If we have a butterfly tattoo, and we decided that we were going to go for a facial butterfly tattoo right in the middle of my forehead, so everybody who ever talks to me has to look at it, but I went for a very muted color, am I going to have exaggerated lips? And clearly, this guy just thinks that, like, the general skin tone is fine. Although I do actually like this quite a bit. We're just gonna go for, yeah, that looks like a guy's lips. Sure. Well, that's the one that looks most like me, I think. They don't really have one here that's pale enough. Jeez, I don't know, man. Is this a color that people's eyes actually are? Probably not. I mean, there's a purple here, so I guess they don't all have to be. Oh, you can actually... This is having a much more muted effect than I was expecting. You can have, like, kind of a gradient going on your head. That's cool. I want to have a gradient on my head. Oh, that's actually kind of a neat look. No, I like that a lot. What if we took this to like a sillier color? Can we go big with it? I'm seeing no radioactive green or anything. No, you know what? I like this. It's not dye, obviously, as we've already discussed. He doesn't have time for that kind of hygiene regimen. It's just like that. It's just naturally like that. That's what I look like. Yeah, I'm happy with it. So Searchlight Clambake is maybe not the greatest. Well, obviously his name is Mitch. I'm gonna pay a little bit of tribute here. Mitch Pavlov. Oh man, Mitch Pavlov, and his call sign is Bell. Got it. is perfect. I mean, it couldn't be any more perfect, really. So, decades ago, I came to the Oregon Reach from the Free Worlds League. The day after our decades ago, my family came to the Oregon Reach. Obviously, it couldn't be decades ago for me. The day after my 16th birthday, my family was betrayed and murdered, leading me to perpetually look kind of nervous. Got a little bit of early life PTSD. And out on my own, I became a soldier because it was easy enough to do. You know, you just fall into a regimented thing, let somebody else make the decisions for a little while because of all the stress and everything. And we have some stats that I think are probably good. Twice the starting gunnery. Sounds good to me. Alright, so that, I think, is where we're going to end this one. Thank you all so much for watching. I don't want to get into any actual gameplay here, because next episode, which will happen soon, sooner than anyone could possibly hope, gameplay, real, actual BattleTech. Come back for that, and we'll see you then.